All right, PGA Championship is coming up, and we've got our all-star panel for you once again. Let's introduce him to you, shall we? Well, he hosted 4 Olympics for CTV over a 36-year broadcasting career. Oh, there we go. Sorry. There we go. He's host of the Raptors on NBA TV, CFL play-by-play voice, TSN golf announcer. He has hosted international hockey. He also calls curling, and of course, is the voice of figure skating in Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, Rod Black. He is the co-host of the Humble and Fred show, which he started with his old pal Fred Patterson way back in 1989 on CFNY. He moved to CKFM, Mojo 640, back to Mix 99.9. He is now the host of one of the most popular podcasts in the country, longest running podcast in the country, the Humble and Fred show on Sirius XM podcast. And he's also a hell of a golfer. Ladies and gentlemen, Humble Howard Glassman. There he is.
Hello, guys. Hello, friends.
Guys, welcome back to the program. Hi, friends.
Yeah, good to be here.
Tilley is an angel. Producer Vic is awesome. But for me as a broadcaster, it's intimidating being on with you TV guys, especially Black, who is just, what do you say about Rod Black? I had him on my show. It was intimidating. And he's a great storyteller. And I guess that's all I'll have time to say. Over to you, Rod.
Well, I am honored and I am honored and humbled to be, and I enjoy being on your show, Howard. And I can't wait till we do golf. I truth be known, everybody on this show right now is pissed off with me because I was a little late jumping on. I'm not known for my accurate timing, but I'm not a Swiss Army watch. But it's good to be with you guys, and it's golf again. Hey, we got another major. Didn't we just have a major?
Right.
Yeah, we just had a major, right?
Yeah. You know, it's funny you mentioned that, 'cause I really like, I like the, and I've said this a couple of years ago when they switched the format. I like the April, May, June, July major rota, if you will. And then August is the playoffs and the FedEx Cup. I like it myself personally, but you guys as broadcasters, how does it land with you?
Yeah, I'm a little ambivalent on it, I think. You know, it's kind of weird. I guess I'm just such a traditionalist and an old school guy that, you know, it always was Masters, US Open, PGA, which is always kind of that, ugly stepsister in the group for some reason. It was never given the respect. And then, it was actually PGA or US Open, British Open, PGA Championship, but it was always kind of that last one, that, and then they kind of fiddled with it. I think I love it. I agree with you, Howard. I like what they've done with the PGA because I think it brings more prevalence to the PGA. I wish they would stretch it out just a little bit more. I think they should go probably a little bit later into May, and then probably they love the Father's Day. That's traditional for US Open. But now I wonder about the British Open or the Open or whatever anybody calls that thing. It does it now because it's the last one. I think always whenever you're going to be the last one, you may not have that kind of relevance, but hey, I love it now because we get to see such great golf. Hey, listen, we've had 3 majors in the span of 6 months? Yeah. So it's kind of cool. But it's interesting too because the PGA is not set up like the US Open, as you guys know. But I do think the importance of the PGA Championship has been magnified a lot.
You're talking to old guys. You're talking to old guys when we refer to it as the British Open. I love that. Because
I know.
Joe, you're too young, Joe. You don't remember, but they used to have the British Open ball. Do you remember that? Like they had the British ball. It was a little different than the ball they used over here, and all the golfers would go there. Palmer and these guys in the '60s, and they'd use the small ball. It had a different feel. I'll agree with Rod. It definitely had a different feel with the PGA being last. I think I agree with Rod though, in terms of I think having it in May gives it a little bit more of a highlight or a spotlight, but it's still the third. It's still the fourth major for me by a long shot.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's great, but the list of guys that have won the PGA Championship as their only major, and I think of some guys like Sean McKeel, and I think that's his name. But there's like one-off winners. They don't generally generate a lot of multi-winners of the PGA, with a few exceptions.
Well, it's interesting because generally speaking, the PGA Championship has the strongest fields. And this year's championship is going to have a little bit of an open championship feel to it because of being a Kiowa Island. It's going to be, like Kiowa Island has the ocean course has the most seaside holes of any course in the Northern Hemisphere.
Wow.
Pete Dye designed the course. I got a chance to play it actually about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
There's some nasty par threes.
The biggest freaking alligators ever. The alligators are absolutely enormous. I am going to predict, I don't have a projection, but during this championship, a player or caddy will be eaten by an alligator. Wouldn't that be something? What is that? What prop bet is that? They're huge. I don't know if you played there. They are huge alligators.
Wow.
Well, I'm sure William Hill has a book on that. But Pete Dye designed with his wife Alice, and by the way, they designed the course, and then Alice decided that because they wanted the coastline view to be a little bit better, she would raise it. So when they raised the course, it made for a better view, of course, but it also made it more exposed to the wind. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, this is obviously going to be a factor here. So I looked at some researchers. From one round to the next, a player can experience up to an 8-club difference on certain holes that depend on the wind direction and strength, of course. So now, having said that, and by the way, the PGA Championship tends to get the best field of any tournament because it's based on world rankings at the time. So the best players at this time are generally in there. Although that also includes players who are playing a lot, right? Some of the more recognizable names aren't necessarily playing a lot, so maybe their rankings have slipped a little bit, but we all know who they are. But I'm thinking about Rory, okay, because he's one of my picks too. But he's coming off the win at Wells Fargo. He's a guy who's played a lot in Europe, right?
He's won a Kiowa.
He's won a Kiowa before. He won 12 in 2012. That's right. So and by the way, he was, I think, the number 5 or 6 choice before he won at Wells Fargo. Now he's jumped to number 1. He's the number 1 pick at 10-1. So just like that. Just like that.
Another thing, by the way, is this kind of like a retrospective Rory as a young boy? There's another thing. Kiowa this year for the PGA will be the longest yardage they've ever played in major championship history. Check this out. They're playing it at 7,800 yards. Now, the course I play, Glen Cairn, from the blue tees is about 6,450. From the backs that we play is about 6,800. So think about that. Like our average, like the senior tournaments that I play in, the average is about 6,500. That's 1,300 more yards. Like, I don't know. You guys are decent golfers. Would any of us break 90? Could we break 100 here?
No. And not only that, Howie, you add the length, which is going to favor some of our picks. I saw some of our picks. Yep. You're going to favor the long ball hitters. But I've played there, and I don't know if you have, Howard, but I played when it was really cold. And if the weather's, I haven't seen the forecast. If the weather's perfect, a bomber will excel. But if it blows, it's like Cabot, a combination of Cabot, probably Pebble, and St. Andrews all mixed together, because it is really a links, one of the true links courses, by the way, in North America, even though we really don't know what links courses are. And the wind blows. I don't think you want to get your ball too high in the air there. That's the thing. And the premium will be, again, on second shots probably, and accuracy. And so that probably is where I can't believe, I did not know that about the length of that course. What do the par 5s tip out at?
I don't have a scorecard in front of me, but I can tell you 2 things that are different when you guys play that course. And again, I've played Cabot, but I've never played Kiowa. The difference when you play it, or we would play it, and when they play it, is and I know you guys know this, but I'll just, for the audience, not only do they get the golf course ready for these guys lengthwise and green speeds, but there's a speed that the fairways are tipped out at. So when you see a guy like, Rory on the weekend was hitting at 315 in the air, and at times they're getting 45 and 50 yards of roll. So if you've got a 630 yard par 5, These guys are rolling it out to 370, 380. Some of them are going to be able to hit those par 5s and 2. That's part of the difference between a PGA Tour course and the kind of courses we play. They just, because if they did that to amateur golfers where the fairways were running at that speed, they'd have it would be 6 hours of chaos every time somebody played. Soft fairways are good for bad golfers like us.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a good golfer. We're crappy.
You're playing at sea level too, so the ball doesn't travel
at sea level
as it does here, right?
That's a great point, Joe.
That's another factor. That's it would eat us up, man. It would eat us up.
Oh man.
So
I'll tell you, I don't like. If I can just finish one thing, I don't like Rory. I don't think Rory's going to do well here because I don't think he drove the ball as well as you need to at this golf course.
Yeah, I do love
hitters. Yeah.
I do love his mojo coming in. We talked about this at the Masters, guys on form coming in, and that kind of played out in many ways. The guys who were on form actually played pretty well moving in. The guy obviously was Hideki Matsuyama, who was lights out. And let's face it, we're not sitting here talking about Hideki Matsuyama winning the Masters Championship if it's not for that delay on Saturday. Really, that was the whole. So you got to put that into the whole mix of what happened. But if you think for one moment that form coming in after a last week, especially with Rory McIlroy being a closer now, you're right, Howard. I mean, you saw where he was hitting some errant stuff and he was able to escape. You saw the footage there.
Yeah,
there are swamps. There is fescue. There are gators. and
sharks.
And I just think you've got to hit the ball straight. That's it. You've got to hit the ball straight. So he might have some confidence, and I think that's going to buoy him coming in. But I agree. I think I just didn't like. I thought he sprayed it a little too much, even to get to the winner's circle.
Plus, here's a little trivia about Rory. I don't know if you guys remember this from a few years ago, but for a guy that grew up sort of in seaside, Northern Ireland, lots of wind, he actually said this. He said, "I don't like playing in the wind." And I thought that was an odd thing because he hits the ball so high. And I'm sure you have, Rod, but I've had occasion to watch him hit balls. I followed him, Ricky Fowler, and Henrik Stenson at the Scottish Open a couple of years ago. And Rory McIlroy, it's beyond impressive, but his ball flight is very high. He doesn't flight it down. And as you guys both know from being golfers, wind is a huge factor at the amateur level, but at their level as well, not so much that they can't hit it through the wind, but it messes with their yardages. It gives them doubt. And as you guys know from playing there, it can get blowing pretty hard. And at 7,800 yards, man, you got to control your ball flight. And that's another reason I don't see him. I think he'll have a good week. I just don't see him winning.
Yeah. Just one more thing too. Sorry, Joe, on the Rory thing is that Rory McIlroy 2012, that tournament was in very inclement weather. I mean, there was thunderstorms came in, the wind, but that was a Rory McIlroy who can control his ball flight back in 2012 and won the PGA Championship. And by the way, he was one of the best golfers in the world and certainly confident. Oh, yeah. But, and that might have, eight shots, I think, right? So you have to think that. And by the way, Tiger and VJ and all those guys, they were all leaders early on, and he did come from behind to win that championship, through the weekend. But you just got to think that the way that ball, he's trying to hit fades, and now he's still, because he's I just think he double crosses. Howard, you're a better golfer than we are. I think he double crosses himself quite a bit at times, and I just maybe that little draw that was almost a hook that was coming into play might be good seaside. I'm not sure, but it's not Rory McIlroy of 2012. That's the bottom line.
No, I totally agree. Now, Joe, it's your program. Where would you like to take the next line of questioning?
Well, let's do this. Let's talk about because we talked about how you obviously have to have accuracy is going to be key. Accuracy is going to be obviously key, but it helps to be able to hit the ball far because you're making those par fives into par threes, par fours. If you're a big hitter, but Let's talk about some of the contenders. Dustin Johnson, of course, who's ranked number 1 in the world. He's the second choice along with Jon Rahm to Rory. They're both listed at 12-1 by William Hill. He struggled last month at the Masters. He missed the cut. He's apparently got a knee issue. Anybody hear about that? Apparently, there was video of him hopping out of a boat, he pulled out of the Byron Nelson this week. He was supposed to play. I was thinking he could probably use that tune-up because he hadn't been particularly sharp. Do you think he's overvalued at 12-1?
I would say, okay, so that's good intel. I might take him off my list now. Sounds like a Kelly Gruber boating accident to me. Having said that, we've seen what's happened when guys sometimes come in and they are tweaked a little bit. I still think we've chatted about this. I still think he's the video game golfer, right? And if maybe he needs that rest, the only thing about Dustin Johnson, he's not in form at all. Like, he's not in form at all. He has played miserable golf over really since the Masters. His Masters win back in the late fall.
November.
I think, it's going to be, but I still pick him. I still would pick him. I still would pick him.
Go ahead. Because of the delay. I agree that he has not been in form, but these guys are really good at golf. They really are. And I know that sounds stupid to say it that way, but Dustin Johnson is really good at golf. And if you recall, I think it was last summer that he had the bit of a slump. He shot like 78, then 80. He missed a couple of cuts, and then he just wins because he's really good at golf. And if he is just resting in and it's not something more serious, whatever form he was in, it doesn't really matter because you know what those guys are like. Something happens on Tuesday, they get a feel, and Wednesday they try it out in the practice round, then all of a sudden they're back. They're not like us, They have superior skills. Their baseline is amazing. So when Dustin Johnson finds it, and whether he does or doesn't, but if he does, it would surprise anyone if he wins. I picked him.
He's a bit of a
because he's such a good driver of the ball.
Yeah, he's a bit of a schleprock though when it comes to stuff like, the guy he fell downstairs a few years ago, falling out of a boat.
At his condo.
He's a great. Hey, Howie, he's very good at golf. He's not very good at walking, apparently.
He's not good at stairs. He's no good at stairs, Dustin.
That's okay. Stairs. Yeah, I still pick him.
But I do too. I'll tell you. Yeah. Because he just has that something can happen on the range one day and then he's back. What was that, Joe?
No, I was just going to move on to Jon Rahm. Never won a major. Yeah. Is this going to be his tournament? You talked about one-offs. Howard is his. The guy's. Like you said, a guy can golf. The guy's a player. He's also listed at 12-1, second choice. He's a new father now. Does that make a difference in his game? He's looking for that first major. He had a couple wins last year. He beat Johnson in the playoff at the BMW Championship. 7th at Augusta in November. Ranked in top 10 in several statistical categories. But is he consistent enough to get this done? Can he kind of get over that hump and get himself into that first major?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll take it first. I think Jon Rahm is also, the top guys, Rahm and Dustin Johnson and Rory McIlroy. They're all sort of 1A, 1AB or whatever in terms of world class. Again, would surprise no one if Jon Rahm won this major and the next after that. But as Rod and you both know, winning golf tournaments is difficult. Winning majors is even more so. And nothing says, nothing says you have to win any. Doesn't matter how good you are. Look at Phil Mickelson. Didn't win, Rod, until he was, I think, past 30. He won his first and then he won 4 more after that. But lots of guys have had great golf careers and have been number one. Lee Westwood, without winning a major. Luke Donald, no majors. Colin Montgomery, no majors. So I say this guardedly. I think Jon Rahm will win a bunch, but he's got to win the first one.
Yeah. And I think too, guys, it goes back to our first question. We talked about the order of the majors now and the proximity of where they are on the calendar. It used to be very unique, especially the Grand Slam, winning a Grand Slam, not that anybody, Jordan Spieth obviously has a chance, and Rory to add those and to join, Mount Rushmore of golf. But I do think that was also in an era where they didn't play certainly as many big tournaments, I think, at the time. And there was very few rivalries. Agreed. And I do think it was also very difficult in the past to be a Grand Slam champion or win multiple majors in a row because of that, the time between. You win the Masters, I'm like Matsuyama he just went through 2 weeks of quarantine. That might hurt him. But I would have had Matsuyama coming in right after. This is seriously, this is a month after. Really. It's a month after the Masters. You're riding some serious mojo, I think. And then another month, you got the U.S. Open. So it's a little bit different. And Jon Rahm's play at Augusta, because he wasn't on the leaderboard for a while and then all of a sudden was marching. And I think it was like the tiger roars. All of a sudden, guys are looking up and their feelers go up. Oh, my gosh, there's Jon Rahm. Unfortunately, he was too far back to make any noise at the time. But you're right, Howie. I think he's going to win. He's going to win a lot. Can he carry the mojo from Masters? And that's the good thing, is that it's only a month after. Being a new dad, I do think, by the way, Joe, I think that's significant. How many times have we seen Winner's Circle champions in PGA golf with the emotion of something that was a bit of a distraction for them, a bit of a distraction. And I think fatherhood is a major distraction. I've been a father for 20 years. I really don't like my kids very much. So that's a very good distraction for me.
That's funny.
Well, that's the same thing. Same goes for Rory too. Rory's when he was a dad for the first time. Yeah.
It's funny, Joe. I gotta just say that about Rob. That makes me laugh because I do this joke in my act. I say I've got two daughters. One is 26, and the other one's kind of a dick, actually. I said every family has a good kid and the shitty kid, and if you don't know which one you are, you were the shitty kid. Trust me.
Yeah. That's the amazing thing about the pandemic, is that you get to know your kids and your wife, and I have found they're quite interesting actually over the last 14 months. They're very interesting. And then there's one there suspiciously looks like Leo Routens, and I just don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering.
Does he fart?
No, it's a she, and she's 6'8".
That's funny.
Yeah, he farts. Yeah.
Yeah, Rod was on our show. Rod was on Humble and Fred show, and he told that Leo Routen story, and everyone loved it.
Yeah.
That was really funny.
The brown jacket.
I'll just say, you know what? Being a new dad or not, or being on form or not, again, and you guys know this as well or better than me because you covered them. These are world-class athletes, and whether it's tennis, figure skating, or something individual like golf, you just never know when somebody comes out of nowhere, hasn't been on form. Listen, Ricky Fowler got a special invitation to play in this thing. Ricky Fowler's really good at golf. He could win. I doubt he will, but he could. And that's what makes them the most interesting of the tournaments, because it's so heightened that it sometimes guys rise to those occasions, other guys falter, but you just never know. And the PGA is famous for guys coming out of nowhere and winning. So it'll be interesting.
Do you guys think too, here's a little thing. I think you can also be guilty as a player in individual sports of sometimes trying too hard. Trying too hard. And I'm sure, Howie, you play tournament golf, so you know what that feels like. You're just squeezed where every shot is paramount. I have found so many major champions, not that they haven't tried hard, but their focus was just askew a little bit. I mean, Mike Weir, I remember when he won his first ever championship at the Air Canada Championship, his caddy, Brendan Little, famously talked to him about wrestling throughout the tournament to kind of keep himself out of the way of himself, if you know what I mean. So I do think there's a comfort in being uncomfortable. Yeah. So that's yeah.
Well, all three of us have played enough golf, whether it's your Saturday morning game or your club championship. And I've been lucky, I've qualified even in my advanced years. I played in the 2017 and the 2018 Canadian Mid-Am. And so it's like there's Garrett Rank and all these guys, and there's really good young players. And those kind of nerves are no different than your Saturday morning game. You just sort of get used to, when the first time anyone ever announced me on the first tee, I was shaking so hard I didn't think I could put the ball on the tee. But after a while, you sort of get used to being in that situation. My point is, sometimes guys will rise to the occasion, to echo what Rod was saying, that, sometimes it's guys who aren't really squeezing too tight. Mike Weir won the Masters, but he had to win the Air Canada first and the Skins game. He just got used to it. And that's why it's often very difficult for guys to win for the first time in a regular tour event. But in a major, man, it's very difficult. The guy, when we get to our picks, I'll tell you why I'm going to pick my long shot. I think has a really good shot of winning.
Yeah, we'll get to that really, really shortly. I just want to touch on a couple other guys. Now, okay, Justin Thomas, ranked second in the world, second in the FedEx Cup championship standings. He's fourth choice at 14-1. He's a PGA champion in 2017. So he's won this event before. 3 wins last year, 10 top 10 finishes. Won the Players Championship a couple months ago with a real nice come from behind win. So Justin Thomas obviously would be one of the guys you throw in there and say, this is one of your guys who's a good golfer.
Yeah. I think he would have been Masters.
Experience and pressure.
Yeah. I think he would have been Masters champion. I really do. Again, there were some other names out there, but the Matsuyama Saturday changed everything. It made everybody a chaser. And here's the thing, Augusta, it's very hard to chase. I think it's very hard to chase, especially front runners who are solid like Matsuyama was. But I will tell you, I think it's going to be really hard to be a chaser on an ocean course. You don't want to fall behind either. And then you got to start thinking about, like Howie said, ball flight and conditions. But I think he's a front runner. I think Justin Thomas is a really good front runner. So he's again, we talked about it before the Masters. He's always going to be in contention. He's he's got the perfect swing. He's got the mentality. He's a winner. I would not be surprised at all to see him hoist the Wanamaker Trophy, which is a very strange name and a very large trophy. Yeah. It's almost as if it's a Great Cup on steroids. It's the Great Cup on steroids. It's a little ungainly. Yeah, I think you actually could drive it. It's actually got wheels. You could actually. And who is Wanamaker? I don't even know who that is. I don't think he was a great golfer.
No, he wasn't.
He wanted to. He was a wannabe. There you go.
He was a Wanamaker, but he never did.
Rod Black for the win.
I'll tell you, but I can't.
I don't have a lot of regrets. There was a couple things I said on the air from time to time, but I'll tell you one thing: I would trade a bunch of things, including the saucy child, for Justin Thomas's swing. God damn it! Because I'll tell you, just in that highlight package, he just has what I think is a great golf motion, and that's why every time he tees it up, if he putts, it's like any other tour player, but he's especially adept at hitting a golf ball, and when he putts well, he'll just win. I don't know. Again, he's already won a major. He's won this one. Again, would it surprise anyone that I pick him? Because why wouldn't you pick him?
Yeah, solid player. Bryson DeChambeau, the Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk. What do you think? I mean, the guy can golf, he can play, but is he just maybe is he too erratic for a course like this?
Yeah, I got him.
Another choice at 14-1.
Yeah, I got him this week, and I put it. I know probably. I just think he is erratic and sporadic. But there's something about him, and as long as he shows up on time and doesn't realize that it's which was, by the way, was that not so Bryson DeChambeau, the smartest man in the room, the scientist, everything. He's the smartest guy and the dumbest guy. He's like, Bill Nye, the golf guy. Like, are you serious, dude? You don't look at the scoreboard. Your caddy doesn't look. You get your jet fired up. And then and by the way, he makes a run at it as well. I just think his talent is extraordinary in terms of moving the golf ball. Will it work at Kiowa? I'm only putting him on there because I think probably trending he's kind of like that up and down guy. Then when he goes, and he probably has something to prove. But I don't think you could ever discount DeChambeau as well.
Yeah, one thing about him that I don't think gets talked about, because obviously his length is amazing and he's an exceptionally good putter. But one thing about Bryson, and yeah, he's a bit of an odd duck, and a sport like golf always seems to identify the odd ball like Mac O'Grady and anyone that's a bit different. But one thing about Bryson that doesn't get talked about, he is a grinder. He never gives up. I respect the guy because it's easy to give up. We've all done it. And giving up, sometimes you lose energy and you're just like, this isn't my day. But that DeChambeau, I watch him, and he hates to make bogeys. He tries till the very end. And that's to your point, Rod. The reason he came back after thinking he missed the cut, he almost won the thing. I mean, he had a chance if things had gone a little bit different. That's why I like him, because if he's on form, he will try until it's over. Whereas a lot of guys, they just go, I'm done today. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, and he had to hurry back and catch the jet.
Yeah, right. And winning the par fives.
He made $228,000.
And winning the par fives, PGA Championship.
Right? Yeah.
What's that, Joe?
So there it goes.
He made $225,000.
Yeah, it covered his jet nets. What is it called? The net jet tab. His net jet tab to get back to the
easily.
But he's talking about the par fives, Red. Yeah.
The par fives. But Howie, I love what you said about him being a grinder, and was last Masters, I think, right? When everybody kind of in November, everybody was talking, oh, this could be his time. And was it there? I might be confused. Where he wasn't feeling well, or I remember, and he had a lot of pressure. Yeah. And he's still like to go out there, and whatever he had, vertigo or whatever, he still was grinding. Even at the this previous at Augusta, he played like crap the first 2 rounds, still hung around, was able to hang around. I love the fact he doesn't say die.
Yeah, and you guys being sports guys for your careers will know this from other sports. It's an intangible thing, because there's lots of at the elite level, there's a lot of people that can do, they can move the golf ball like Bryson DeChambeau, more than most people would realize. But what he has, and what a lot of guys, Tiger had it. Tiger was famous for, it's interesting when we talk about Zalatoris, I'll explain why I know this, but Tiger was famous for not shooting a lot of 60s and 61s, but he didn't shoot a lot of 74s and 5s in his prime. The reason is, on his bad days, he had a knack for, keeping the high end or the low end of his high scores low. So his high scores were 72s and 3s and 71s, but his lows weren't really low because he played conservatively, and he would 68 and 67 you to death, but he never stopped grinding. And that's a thing that not a lot of even elite athletes, not all of them have that in equal measure.
He made a lot of good bogeys. He
made a lot of great bogeys.
Yeah.
And I would say even for us amateurs, I know that, again, I forget what your handicaps are, but I saw an interesting stat recently. The difference between somebody that shoots 95 and somebody that shoots 79 isn't the fact that the guy that shoots 79, it's not that he makes a whole lot of birdies. In fact, on average, a 79 shooter makes one more birdie a round than a 95 shooter. But the biggest difference is less doubles, less triples, less 3-putts, and less penalty strokes. So at whatever level you're at, if you can conserve strokes, which is what DeChambeau does, it's what Tiger did. It's the penalties you don't make and the 3-putts that you don't have are really what make your scores drop.
You got to keep your control, keep your head, keep your wits. Don't get carried away. Don't do the stupid things, right?
Make good bogeys. Gentlemen,
right.
Next time we get to play, whenever that is, July, fucking August, I don't even know.
How are we going to play?
Good bogeys.
Yeah, wherever. Well, video game golf is the only one we'll play. But
yes.
Howard, the beauty of the Tigers and the DeChambeaus and those guys who have brought an athletic mind to golf. Not that golf is not, like, I hate that argument. Golf's not a sport. That's so stupid. Golf is a sport. But the athletes who come to the sport have gravitated from something else. Tiger, by the way, was never a terrific athlete, but has that athletic, almost military mind, Buddhist mind as well, obviously from his upbringing. But the athletes, I look like a Brooks Koepka, obviously played other sports. I look, you look at DeChambeau, these guys, DeChambeau could have played football. But that's where you learn, probably at a young age, about that ability to turn the bogey or the bad pass or the bad shot into something better. And what I like too about that is their bounce back, their boomerang factor is enormous. They might take an 8. They might take as Tiger did, they might take a quadruple bogey here. But guess what? That next hole, it's in their mindset not to follow it with a double or even a single bogey, that they're going to go get it. And if you do the math, say, I always do it this way, and I hate snowmen, and everybody has had one. And you go,
that's right.
Oh my God. But then I always think, just do the math. Birdie a par 3. That's 10. That's, you just do the math, and you try to bring the math back down and focus a little more and grind your way back. And I'm not a great golfer by any stretch because I just don't work at the game enough. But when I was years ago, because I played so many different sports, that's kind of the mentality I had. In match play, I just didn't think another guy, even though he was a scratch, could beat me because I would grind him to death. And then I lost to a 72-year-old dude on a 16-hole. I was 3 up, and the guy chipped in. And to this day, my clutch gene went right up my pooper.
I will listen, Joe, I know it's your show. I'll just say one last thing. The difference between good players and professionals and high handicappers is just what you said. High handicappers do this. Because I was 2 years ago, I played in the Ontario Senior Am, trying to make the cut. I'm well within the cut line, go to the 15th hole, I make a 9. The next hole's a par 3, I make a 2. To your point, part of the last couple holes, make the cut on the number. But I will tell you the difference between where I used to be was I would go 9, 8, 7, 6, lose my mind, throw my club.
Clubs in the water. I hate golf. I'm never playing again.
I hate golf. I hate myself.
I hate golf. I hate golf. I'll be back tomorrow.
You come home and your wife's like, "Oh, it's just a game. Just a game."
Anyway, sorry, Joe. Here's the other one too, and we've all done this. Do you know what's crazy about golf? And it's one of the great things I love about it too, because that stuff sticks with you. Hey, you have a bad round, and you go back, and it sticks like nothing in my life. Man, I don't. Leo Rounds may be one of my kid's father. Do I blame my wife? No, we're still okay with that. Did I crash my car? It's okay. My house is on fire. That's okay. Have 4 double bogeys on the back 9 to finish. I played Goodwood last year. I remember I was like 1 under through 15. I'm going like crazy. This is unbelievable at Goodwood, which is a great course. And I was playing my lights out. Double, triple in the head. Yeah. But here's the thing about golf that I find amazing. I do not know where my laundry is right now, guys. Yeah. But I could go back to the last round I played at night, and I don't count sheep, and I can remember every single shot, the way you felt over a shot. It's insane. I wish my life was like a golf game. I remember to come on this show on time.
Never forget it. Never forget it.
Bullshit disrespect for Joe Tilley and his buddy Vic. We'll get to that another time. Here's the thing. I can not only remember, if the 3 of us played, I can not only tell you every shot I hit, I can tell you every shot you hit. Yes. That's what's really weird. Is if we're going around and we're sitting there having a beer after, I go, "Oh, Joe, that shot you hit on 8, that was amazing." And meanwhile, I couldn't tell you when my kid's birthday is. The little one, I don't care, but the other one's nice.
The dick.
Anyway, the dick one.
I always found like you ever listen to Jack Nicklaus? He'll be after a press conference. Back in '76, I shot that, and then the ball, and my second shot and I hit it on the right side, and then on the third shot, and then back in 1977 when I played, I played the Abbey, and it was like one of those times, and I said, and then I hit the shot. I'm going like, who is this savant? Who is this Rain Man? But then you start to play more seriously, and it's there has to be something that someone can do with golf for photo memory. Photographic memory. There's something there because I don't get it. I don't get why I can't remember what I got. I got to get eggs tomorrow at the store, but I can remember my last friggin' 8 rounds of golf.
And I'm going to tell you why before I give the show back to Joe, because I also host a golf podcast called Swing Thoughts. Please look it up. And all we talk about with each guest is the mental side of the game. And we interview basically, we have guys like Foley on and some tour players, but mostly it's guys that coach tour players. The reason we miss shots of significance or moments of high emotion is because of that. It's because you're on the 15th hole. It's good wood. You're having a great round. You know exactly where you are. You're 1 under par. And the emotion, the internal combustion of going double, double, triple, double to shoot 80, it sticks with you because it's very personal. You know, golf is a really personal thing. Even when you're playing well, you feel a real connection to it. It's why one of the things we talk about on our show is to try not to take it too personally. Like when I play ping pong and I miss the net, I don't sit there for 3 days after beating myself up and going, doing that 6,000 freaking times.
Well, yeah, right. It doesn't cost a lot of money to play, and you can't get better ping pong paddles. You can't.
Right.
There's no ping pong town. Like you can't. I got to go to ping pong town. I got to get my paddle re-gripped.
What are you talking about? I thought ping pong town was still open during the lockdown.
The only thing that's open.
So
you can still.
This superstar Rod Black is now taking me past my time. I've got to pick the shitty kid up and take it somewhere. So
Okay, well, let's go quickly to look at the picks then, okay? We'll go quickly look at the picks. All right, here we go.
Okay,
so we start with Rod, and there you go. Okay, I took Rory, Jordan Spieth, Colin Morikawa. My outside shots are,
I thought I had Jordan
Daniel
in there.
Berger. Did you not? Did you put Jordan in there? Oh, looks like
I put Jordan. I put Jordan in there too, but that's okay. I'll just put him as my fourth.
Okay.
A good fourth.
Okay, put him as your fourth. So there you go. DJ, Justin, Bryson, and Howard, Justin, DJ, and
I love Howie. I love your long shot, Howard.
And Zalatoris, he was great at Augusta. Yeah.
Well,
we all picked Corey Connors.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. I love Corey Connors. I love the fact that he's having a nice season, but I like, just briefly, I've been, the guy that works with Zalatoris is a guy named Scott Fawcett, and his partner is a guy named Lou Stagner. I know this because 3 years ago, 2018, I took Scott's seminar. He was working with a bunch of Canadian juniors, and the guy that coaches the juniors, Sean Casey, is a buddy of mine. He said, hey, come listen to this guy talk. Anyway, long story short, I started using the Decade app and the system, and I know a little bit about, not exactly what he does with Zalatoris, but I know the method that Zalatoris uses, and that's why it's funny. They asked Webb Simpson, they said, why is these young guys are coming on out of college and they're already seemingly seasoned. How is it that they're able to navigate these golf courses where years ago it would take you 2 or 3 seasons to figure them out? And he said, and he mentioned Decade. He mentioned Scott Fawcett because there's a way of analyzing a golf course technically that gives guys like Zalatoris. I know who else is using it is DeChambeau, Webb Simpson, Stuart Sink, who won recently. And they're using this system of dissecting a golf course in a way that allows you to have it sort of mapped out before you play it. And I'll finish by saying, so when Zalatoris got to the back 9 at Augusta, after the round, Fawcett was in a webinar saying the reason Zalatoris was able to prevail is because we've talked over that back 9 dozens and dozens of times. He had a plan for it. He had it all mapped out, and he just hit the shots that he had planned to the places that he had decided were the best targets to give him the best chance. Questions? Sorry. I feel like every time I start talking, you guys are like, I have no idea.
No. I've heard of Scott. I've heard of Scott, and I will tell you, I love Sean Casey, too. What a great dude he is.
He's
and he's got a great mind. But you know what I love about Zalatoris? He looks like, you show up at the golf course, at your golf course, Glencairn and Emerald Hills, where you wind dance, Joe.
Yeah.
You show up and you've only got a threesome, and then there's a skinny little teenage kid with pimples who shows up, and and then the old guy in you goes, who's this little shit, and then all of a sudden the kid just is whacking it out of sight and doing whatever. And so I love him. I think everything you need to know, first of all, that he was in contention all the way through.
Yeah.
Secondly, I think that quote will live with him for a long time. If I'm stupid enough to think that I could play at Augusta, I'm probably stupid enough to think that I could win the Masters.
Absolutely.
And that's everything you need to know about the kid, because that's in his head. I think he might be the strongest mental player despite his age. I think he's 60 years old in a 21-year-old body, whatever he is. I think he's actually the same age, maybe a little less than Justin Thomas, because I think they also played, and Jordan Spieth, actually. I think
he's way younger. No, dude, he's only 23, 22, 23.
Yeah. But I know they played a lot of young golf together.
Yeah.
And I just think he's spectacular.
Well, the reason that Zalatoris, and I'm sorry, let me back up. The reason Scott Fawcett called his system Decade is because he had caddied for Zalatoris in the U.S. Junior a few years ago, and he said to Zalatoris, "Listen, I'll caddy for you, but I want to try out this system with you. And if you'll listen to me, I think you'll have a chance." Anyway, when it was over and Zalatoris won, he sends Fawcett a text and he says, "I want to thank you very much. I don't think I would have won without you. With your knowledge, you've given me decades of experience in a very short time." And that's the point of the decade. Because what Scott, through his system, and you guys go look it up, it's fantastic. And I think it's very good for even sort of higher handicap players. But basically, what it is a system to lower your mistakes, not make more birdies, to make less mistakes. Because at every level of golf, even our level, it's the mistakes. And what Zalatoris doesn't do, that even tour players do, is he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And as you said, guys, he's extremely good at the game, but he has a very good mind.
And you know what I like too? This is a little thing. I guess I kind of play it because like a video game. I watch so much golf, and I wish I could play like these guys. But because I've been around it so much as a reporter and as an announcer in the booth, I often listen to shots. And I know that may sound stupid, but the way the ball comes off of a club. Remember a few years ago they had those crazy drivers that kind of were like a thud. Then they had the heavy, but there's something about the ball coming off. Listen to his ball coming off. It's like a rocket. It sounds like Dustin Johnson. Dustin Johnson is a rocket. Same thing with Zalatoris. And if you watch the Tracer's been such a great thing.
Same thing when I was going to say, same thing with Stenson. The vernacular that tour players use is they say he has a heavy hit. He has a heavy hit through the ball. And again, I pick him as a long shot. I don't even think it's a long shot. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if he won. Not even.
Yeah. My only other one is that I'm going to add Jordan Spieth to my list because it'll look really good if he does win, and then I like Jordan. I think he's the sentimental pick, and going based on the way he has climbed, and the fact that he has residue from a winner's circle and been around it and realized he can do it. I thought Augusta was a great step in the right direction to say, hey, now I know what to do to get over that. I would not be surprised. I would actually put probably Jordan Spieth maybe closer to the top of my list right now if he plays like he did at Augusta. And, hey, to your point, Howie, makes fewer mistakes.
I think Jordan Spieth is great for golf. In fact, I've loved watching him this winter, and it's, he's not Tiger, but you notice he moves the needle ratings-wise, and I'm more interested when he's playing well,
Well, he did have the bone chip in his wrist. He's overcome that injury, and he didn't even realize he had it. And he had that removed, and he's been the old Jordan Spieth since. So I think he's certainly
I've got more
another
than a
one
few
of those guys who can golf. Yeah, I got a lot of bone chips.
I got a lot of bone chips I don't know about. All right,
well, guys, listen. I know that how hard you got to go take your daughter somewhere.
I got to go,
and I hope it's a good one. Anyway,
Howie.
Hey, Rod Black, you're a lovely man.
I'm looking forward to playing with you guys finally, eventually. I'm looking forward to getting out there and play with you guys eventually. How are you on the first? You won the Masters Challenge, by the way. The winner gets to take the other two guys to the home course, and the losers buy dinner. Okay. So
we'll see you in 2024 then.
Yeah.
That's right.
We will get out there.
By the way,
guaranteed. Okay.
The fact. Let's have a quick political statement before we leave. I'm sure, Howie, you said it on your show. Enough is enough. Like, enough is enough. We're the only place in the world right now that you can't play golf. This is crazy.
No, I know.
People could play golf on the moon if they wanted to right now. And I hear about COVID. I hear about the spread. I could go to a Shoppers Drug Mart and buy a massager. I can't go golfing
in front of what you're calling it these days?
Well, whatever it might be.
That's what the kids are calling it. It's a massager,
It's only
Mom.
Howie. It's only a gift, and I do have a receipt for the massager.
That's fucking awesome.
But God, how can we not? Seriously, how can we not play golf? How can we not play golf? This makes no sense. We did it last year. It makes no sense.
Okay, stop. Of all the things you could have said at Shoppers, how you got to massager?
Well, because I bought one for my wife for Mother's Day.
Did you?
Or a swimming pool noodle. Seriously, you can buy them. You can sit in a store with people. You can do all this stuff. You can go, and you can't play golf with 3 friends, and we're going to be super spreaders. Enough is enough. Let's get vaccinated. Everybody, you guys been jabbed, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Get jabbed, get vaccinated. Let's get through this crap. This isn't enough is enough. Come on.
All right.
I'm getting
Thank you, Rod Black, for that.
Thanks, all right. That's beautiful.
Thank you, Rod
and
Black.
Stay
once
safe,
again,
everybody.
You got me crying. Rod.
Stay safe, everybody. Yep.
Oh my God!
Listen, guys.
Running high right now.
I could go buy
guys,
cannabis right now. I could buy cannabis in a store. I cannot go golfing.
Someone stop him.
That's right.
Okay, we're going to do this again before the US Open. Wait. Can you just let Rod know when that date is so he can be here on time?
Can you give me the date now? Actually, I'll stay online until that time.
The Wednesday, the week before, and we're going to start at 1 o'clock. Okay, Rod? All right.
I will go online at midnight the night before, and I will
I'm
wear
telling
a
you right
Speedo.
now, Joe, if we're golfing, I can't do it on Wednesday because it's men's night. I'm serious.
All right, well, okay.
Let's
well, then we'll have to...
it's my men's night, too. It's men's night, man. That's Joe.
You know what?
Wednesdays is men's night
my
at
men's night is Thursday. Wind dance, it's
Thursday.
Thursday.
On Tuesday.
We'll have to do it on maybe Tuesday. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we should know everything by then. Anyway, guys, remember, we're all in it together, buddy. We're all in it together, and we got more sports coming up, including Mandy.
Vic has been disrespected by Rod Black for the last fucking time.
That's right. Vic, you're the best, buddy. All right.
Vic, I love Vic. Vic. He's my guy.
No,
I do.
It's me and you, Howie. We're the reason he came.
All right.
Yeah. Vic,
hey, Joe Tilley, you're a nice man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I love you. Yeah,
thanks,
thank you, guys.
Take
love
care, buddy. All right. Love you.
Promotional consideration provided by ClubLink. ClubLink. One membership, more golf.
Excuse me. Yeah, let me introduce you to Steve. Having the round of his life, finally gonna pick up some skins, then he gets here, and now this. Try entering and exiting the bunker on the same low side, and then just a couple of swipes with this to clean things up, and everything will be hunky-dory.
Addiction Rehab Toronto, Toronto's #1 alcohol and drug treatment center, saving lives, reuniting families. The only treatment center in the province to offer medical detox, treatment, sober living, and lifetime aftercare all in one place. Our unique and specialized programs are designed to equip our clients with the tools to successfully lead a life of dignity, respect, and purpose. Let us help save your life or your loved one's life. Call today for more information or to facilitate an intervention. 1-855-787-2424 or visit addictionrehabtoronto.ca. Joe Tilley Sports is brought to you by COSA, Central Ontario Standardbred Association, providing a united voice for harness horse people racing at Ontario tracks. Check out your benefits today at COSAonline.com and check out COSA TV on Facebook and YouTube for all the latest harness news and live action updates. Live racing year-round. Go to hpibet.com for all your wagering options. Become a member today, and your first bet is free. That's hpibet.com.
All right, it's time now for my Cosa Swiss pick of the week. Last week, I went to Yonkers Raceway for Friday night's W.N. Reynolds Memorial Pace. I took Mullinax, reminded me of Rance. But he waited too long to fire it up. Last all the way, Mullinax rallied to finish fifth, which way to the beach, driven by Todd McCarthy for trainer Brett Pelling, took control in the final turn. Coned by Canada's John Craig. Nice victory in 153 even. This week, well, we're going to go back to Yonkers. Friday night's 7th race, an open trot, and I like the number 5 horse, Small Town Throwdown. And open trot, I'm taking a bit of a shot here, the number 5 horse, driven by Austin Siegelman, trained by Mike Tripolini. My record on the year is now 5 wins, 2 seconds, a third, a fourth, a fifth, an eighth, and a 10th. Now, for all the racing updates, visit Cosa TV on Facebook. Go to hpibet.com for your wagering options or many tracks racing in other parts of North America. Well, the sport of harness racing lost a legend this week. Keith Waples passed away, a Hall of Famer. He was among the greatest horsemen in history. Waples started driving in organized events at the age of 12, but actually started jogging horses on the family farm when he was 4 in Victoria Harbor. Affectionately known as the Thin Man, Waples would go on to record over 3,200 victories. He was the first man to drive a sub-2-minute mile. Keith won it all: the Little Brown Jog, the Prix d'Été, the Adios, the International, and many, many more. Among the standouts handled by Waples, Hall of Famers Ty Silk, Strikeout, Albert Starr, Choir Boy, Ben Boy, Blaze Pick, Zip Tar, Rob Ron Ronnie, and Rob Ron Terrios. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame on both sides of the border. He's one of only 4 harness drivers in the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame, and in 2005, he was named the top horseman of the 20th century. Keith Waples was 97. Well, your division champion Maple Leafs are getting ready to open the playoffs next week after a short stint with the Marlies. Freddie Anderson gets some action with the big club. The best goalie will get the nod in the postseason. It's between him and Jack Campbell. At this point, I'm saying this probably Jack Campbell. We'll see how that pans out. But whether it's the Habs or the Jets, it really won't matter. The Leafs are better in every aspect of the game, including coaching. They're going to get healthier as time goes on. This is going to be a long playoff run for your Maple Leafs, and they might even win it all. Well, less than 2 years removed from an NBA championship, and the Raptors have sunk into oblivion. They're going to miss the playoffs, the play-in games, everything. The good news is, well, they're in the draft lottery. Might actually be the best scenario when the smoke clears and all is said and done. Hopefully, they got lucky with the ping pong balls when they dropped. With more hoops, here's Keegan Levine.
Welcome back to Canadian Hoop and Scoop. I'm your host, Keegan Levine. Thank you for tuning in, and I apologize for the 1 week hiatus, but let's talk about the Toronto Raptors. And I know those fans are still coming to terms with the fact that the Raptors will miss the postseason this year. And you know what? We have been spoiled as Raptors fans. 8 straight seasons in the postseason. That's pretty good. And it could be worse. You could be a Sacramento Kings fan. That's 16 straight seasons missing the postseason. So pretty tough for those guys. Anyway, let's get back to the Brandon Clarke story and his journey to the NBA.
And here's the break. Clarke. Oh! Showtime in Salt Lake.
The next step for Brandon in his basketball journey was the NBA, where he was drafted 21st overall in the 2019 draft by the Oklahoma City Thunder and subsequently acquired by Memphis. In his rookie season, Clarke solidified himself as a high-energy player for the Grizzlies, and he played a pivotal role for his team coming off the bench. Clarke's performances had him named to the all-rookie first team, and his shooting efficiency was impressive, as he shot just over 61% on the year.
With the steal, Grizzlies 3-on-2. BC to the rim, flips it up and in, and a blocking foul.
I think he was just an outstanding rookie because he didn't really play the role of a rookie. Brandon Clarke almost played what I would like to consider like a six-man type role with the Grizzlies, where he was really heavily reliant upon as far as offense goes. He didn't shy away from making the big shots. He didn't shy away from having good games.
In his second season, Clarke's offensive numbers don't jump off the stat page, but his play has given his team a boost.
I think he's provided that boost of energy where he can shoot a three on one end and then come running back on the fast break and block somebody's shot and preventing a a fast break.
And on the defensive end, Clark has shown his ability to force turnovers and create offensive opportunities for his team.
And his steals are now about 1 per game. It seems like in the offseason, he's definitely been attacking and growing his defensive play. I think him being able to help out on the defensive end and continue to be consistent on the offensive end, overall, that's going to help the Memphis Grizzlies be that successful team that they want to be.
Tell. Now appearing on a poster. Well, let me introduce you to Brandon Clark. Welcome to the Brandon Clark poster.
How about it, folks? BC. That's what they call him in Memphis. That's all from me tonight. I'll send it back to you, Joe Tilley. This has been Canadian Hoop and Scoop. I'm Keegan Levine for Joe Tilley Sports.
All right, thanks, Keegan. All right, our next guest was born in Coburg, grew up in Moncton, moved to Kitchener as a teen, where she learned to box. She is an 11-time Canadian champion, Commonwealth Games bronze medalist, 2-time Pan Am Games gold medalist, and a great mom to Kate. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mandy Bujold to the show. Mandy, you're the only woman to successfully defend their Pan Am Games championship. We're so glad to have you on the program, but we're going to talk about the plight of Mandy Bujold in just a minute. But I first want to talk a little bit about your amazing career, because this sets things up very nicely. Winning that Pan Am Games gold medal in 2011, and then coming back to defend it in Southern Ontario. What was that like? What did that feel like for you to be able to win that championship here at home?
Yeah, that was obviously a highlight of my career for me. I boxed the world champion in that fight from the USA, and she had beat me a couple times leading into this fight, so I kind of knew I had a game plan for her. I knew what I needed to do to execute, and I was able to do it. And to do that in front of a hometown crowd was obviously a lot more exciting.
Now, you're not the first great Canadian boxer to come out of Kitchener and with Olympic aspirations. Lennox Lewis, of course, the gold medalist. You guys apparently trained at the same gym. You eventually moved to Toronto, trained under Adrian Teodorescu, both of you guys. A lot of similarities there. Talk about the inspiration you might have got from growing up in the shadows of Lennox and Kitchener.
Yeah, I mean, Kitchener is a huge history in boxing. So coming in, even my coach, Sid Vanderpool, his brothers, the Johnson brothers, there was Johnny Calvin. There were so many boxers that came out of Kitchener-Waterloo. Obviously, Lennox is the biggest name. And again, he followed that path. He went to Adrian Teodorescu at one point in his career. And, I knew I was introduced to Adrian from my coach. And it was, initially I was working with him as he was going to help me as I was preparing for European events, because he had the background and the style to work with those opponents. So I knew, even when I first started working with him here and there, that if I could work with him on a full-time basis, that it would take my boxing to the next level. And that's exactly what it did.
So in the 2016 games in Rio, you were considered one of the medal favorites. You got sick. I mean, you went to the hospital, you were on an IV, and you were scheduled to fight. Now, I got to remind those folks who don't remember, you actually pulled the IV out of your arm, and you went down to the venue. You fought your fight. You actually dropped your opponent. You fought a hell of a fight. This is against a world ranked opponent, and lost 5 pounds of fluid. What a great heart you showed. Do it through all of that. I mean, it almost makes me want to tear up here. And it's like, that was the Olympic dream was basically killed by the flu bug. Now here we are 4 years later, and there's a pandemic going on. Mm-hmm. You are, we look at your record: 2-time Pan Am Games champion, 11-time Canadian champion. You've done everything you could possibly do. You take a year and a half, 2 years off to have your daughter Kate, and because of that, the IOC, and then because of the pandemic, the qualifying tournaments are canceled. The IOC, in their whatever, I wouldn't call it wisdom, has decided that you can't qualify for the Olympics. how does that make any sense? If there's anybody on this planet more qualified to fight in the Olympics than you, I'd like to know who they are. And how do they justify this?
Yeah, I think that's definitely the most frustrating part. I think for us, initially when this new criteria came out, and it was put out in a press release of here's what we're looking at to be the new criteria. Obviously, for me, I knew, okay, well, wait a second, this kind of leaves me out of that position. For this reason, right? Because I took that time off to have Kate. So, I mean, I did call a friend of mine, Sylvie, who just happens to be one of the best litigators in Canada, and I just asked her, like, is it just me, or is this like really weird that I'm being left out for this reason? And then, it took her like 3 minutes to basically come to the conclusion and look at, the Olympic Charter and all the things that they were going against with this, what they put out there. So, yeah, it's frustrating. It's something that I never thought I was going to have to deal with. Obviously, like any other boxer, I want to be in the ring. I want to be able to, rightfully fight for my spot. Because, back in 2016, that was one of the highlights of my career as well. It was being able to get in the ring, fight for that spot, and that feeling of like all that work you put in. I remember that moment very clearly in my mind, and that's something that now all the athletes in the Americas are being robbed of because of this cancellation. So it's unfortunate for sure.
Well, I know you talked about Sylvie, and I understand she's taken the case on pro bono, which is pretty awesome. And what kind of legal options do you have?
Well, at this point, we have filed for CAS, so that's basically all we can do at this point. Again, the rest of the process becomes confidential because of the process involved here. Again, this is so new to me. I don't know. I don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know how this is going to all kind of play out or how it's going to work. So I'm really just leaving that up to Sylvie and her team at Torrey's to kind of help me walk through this.
Okay, so now you've had a lot of support in your journey, this journey you're on right now. There was an article in the New York Times, and Billie Jean King has publicly supported you as well. She offered this tweet yesterday or the day before. Pregnancy is not an injury. Mandy should be allowed to compete. Women will continue to have babies. The IOC needs a ruling now. I mean, how does it feel to have that kind of heavyweight support behind you?
Yeah, that was really cool. Obviously brought a smile to my face. Something that, I have been struggling with in the last little bit, but yeah, it's nice to get that support. I mean, it's not only from Billie Jean King, it's from, people across Canada, across the world, sending me messages right now, just saying, hey, like, we support you 100%. What can we do to help? How can we kind of keep pushing this forward? So I think at that moment when you realize that I think this is a bigger fight than just my Olympic Perth. Obviously, as much as I want to be there and I want to be representing Canada and fighting for what I deserve, I realize that this is obviously an issue that people think needs to be brought up in the sporting world. It's something that a lot of different sports have been fighting for the last few years, and I think it's something that should be pretty normal across the board. When you're talking about high performance athletes and you're talking about women, pregnancy is something that we have to deal with if you want to have a family. So I think this is something that we can somehow bring attention to and get the IOC and other sport organizations really considering this when they're looking at female boxers or female athletes in general.
Well, the IOC doesn't necessarily have a great track record when it comes to dealing out fairness, and gender equality is one of the issues that they struggle with over the years. And I think we're getting to the point now in society where we just can't allow them to do this. And I'm just wondering if do you think there's anything that somebody sitting at home or somebody who wants to support your cause they can do? Is there anything that we can sort of do to help give their heads a shake?
Yeah, I think at this point, like, what everyone has been doing has really helped in the sense of like getting the message out there and just, showing your support for an issue like this, as opposed to going against the IOC. We don't really want to see that. We want to just say, hey, like, you have my back, you're supporting me, you stand with me in this fight, I think is the right messaging. But the more that we can kind of get it out there, the more that I think it adds pressure to the IOC.
This was going to be your swan song, is that correct? This is going to be your last big event, and
so I think that's the hardest part is, with COVID, everything's been, pushed an extra year, and it's kind of delayed other things in my life as well. But I knew that I had come this far to be able to stop at, once the Olympics were postponed, just didn't really make sense. So I've, continued with it for an extra year, and I've had a really great year of training and development, which has been awesome. So really looking forward to putting that on display. So, again, right now I've got to continue doing a training camp as though I'm attending the Olympics, and just hope for the best, hope that this all works out and that I'm able to get out there and fight for that medal.
Well, Mandy, I think you know this now, but we're going to tell you anyway. You've got all of us in your corner. You've got an entire country in your corner, and let's hope we can make a difference, and let's hope that the IOC comes to its senses, because this isn't something that's going to have to be addressed eventually. It's not like there's a whole bunch of other girls that are sitting in the wings waiting because they were on mat leave as well. This is like a one-off that they just have to deal with, because it's going to set precedents for the future, and there has to be a precedent set here, I would think, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But well, thank you, Mandy, as being a guest here on Joe Tilley Sports. We have a golf foursome for you from Club Link, so we'll be happy to send that out to you once things settle down after the Olympics. When you come home with that gold medal, we'll be happy to take you out to the golf course. But thank you so much for being here, and know that we're all in your corner, and go get them. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the support.
All right. Mandy Bujold. Okay, Nate Pearson made his season debut for the Blue Jays on Sunday. It wasn't the kind of dominant effort we hoped for. 5 walks, no strikeouts, as the young fireballer took the loss in Houston. He's back in AAA for some fine tuning. Jays are looking like a wild card contender, folks. Hopefully George Springer gets back soon. Time now for our weekly contest update. Things are heating up. Joe Tilley Sports Contest, giving away 12 awesome Mitch Marner t-shirts, 3 collector sports prints from the talented artist Rob McDougall. You can enjoy all of Rob's work by going to robmcdougall.com. To enter, simply subscribe to Joe Tilley on YouTube. It's easy. It's free. We'll have 1 t-shirt or print handed out each week. We'll notify the winners as well as call their names out on the show. Good luck to you all. By the way, this week's winner is Take a Hike La Pupuchi. All right, Take a Hike La Pupuchi. Hey, well, send us a direct message, will you? Thank you. Okay, we close the show with a look back at the folks who make this show possible. These are friends, trusted business associates, all-around great folks, and we highly recommend them all. A reminder that the show is available on the Spanglish Network and Zingo TV and the Fired Up Network. Thanks once again to Rod Black and Humble Howard, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next week when we welcome back Leafs legend Borja Solving to the show, and we'll have a Leafs playoff preview with Borja. We'll see you then.
Get Aldo at RE/MAX Crossroads. Do you want to buy or sell a home? Could 31 years of real estate experience help you? Why not speak to an amazing team that loves to overpromise and overdeliver? Call 416-GET-ALDO or visit www.getaldo.com to find out what next level real estate looks like. RS Demolition and Excavation has extensive experience with complete teardowns and interior strip-outs. Looking to build a custom home? RS Excavating Services has the experience you need to build in established neighborhoods. For the highest level of quality and cost-efficient results, we provide innovative demolition solutions completed on time and on budget while ensuring our #1 priority, safety. Call 647-852-3006 for an estimate or visit rsdemolition.ca. Brian Gribben Insurance Planning, helping you solidify your financial future.
At BGIP, what we do that's unique in the marketplace is we show people how to spend and enjoy their money in their early years of retirement without the fear of running out. Also, we're able to do this without you having to change financial advisors. Please look us up at bgip.ca today. Let's book a 30-minute phone call to see how we can bring value to you and your family in your planning.
Call Brian today for all your retirement needs. We did. 905-686-5678. Gold Line Resources, discovering high-grade gold in Sweden. Gold Line Resources owns a prospective portfolio of 4 high-grade gold exploration projects located on the Gold Line mineral belt of north-central Sweden, and 1 gold exploration project in the Skellefteå belt of north-central Sweden. For more information on how you can invest in this new initiative, go to goldlineresources.com or call 1-800-858-9710. Gold Line Resources can also be found on the TSX Ventures Exchange as GLDL. Looking for an advantage in choosing your investment options? Belmont Venture Capital will provide you with the best up-to-date opportunities in the mid-cap and junior sector. The company was formed 12 and a half years ago and is spearheaded by 2 seasoned veterans of the financial markets with over 80 years combined experience. Go to BelmontVentureCapital.com today for the latest hot picks on the market. And don't forget to sign up for the newsletter. BelmontVentureCapital.com. Brought to you by MNP, one of Canada's leaders in national accounting as well as tax and business consulting. We proudly serve and respond to the needs of clients in the private, public, and not-for-profit sectors. Through partner-led engagements, we provide a collaborative, cost-effective approach to doing business and personalized strategies, helping people and organizations succeed across the country and around the world. Call MNP's Durham office today, 905-579-5531, or go to mnp.ca.